Everyone, this is the Tell the Truth radio show. I'm your host, Ron Fitch. We have a very busy show. We have Kev from the Steelers for 7 podcasts, and we also have Matt Lowe of Lindy Sports on. And he's going to talk about the Nick Saban situation. But first, I want to talk about the Major League Baseball. I was wrong. I pretty much called when I had Matt Lowe on, I pretty much called the Dodgers cowards. He was a Braves fan. I said he had nothing to worry about, and I was wrong about that. I was also wrong about the Rays. I thought the Rays would finish the Astros. They have not. The Rays lost to the Astros 7-4 yesterday, and the usual suspects took care of business. Altuve, Brantley, Correa, and Springer. And George Springer's having a great series. He might be series MVP. Those are the guys. Kyle Tucker homered, and they ended up winning 7-4. You got Charlie Morton versus McCullers today, Game 7. Tampa's up 3-0. They Astros want to be like the Red Sox to go up and be down 3-0 to come back from deficit and win the American League pennant. And you ask, do I finally give them credit? And the answer is no. You must go and complete this and win a World Series after what you did a few years ago, how you cheated. You must win the World Series without the transmitters, and I will give you credit. I don't care if you came back from 5-0 deficit, down 20 runs every game. Go win this game, and then you might play the winner of the Braves and Dodgers. The Braves are up 3-2, but, man, they had a chance. I'm always a believer in putting a team out of misery when you got their foot on their throat, and the Braves did not do that. They were up 2-0. Corey Seager hits a home run. Top of the 6th, and the Dodgers are striking out like crazy. Even Mookie Betts had the disease. Betts gets on. Infield single. Will Smith walks Muncy. Didn't even want to pitch to him. He throws some pretty nasty pitches to Will Smith, the other Will Smith, 0-2, gets to the 3-2. Now he's got to give in and throw a straight fastball, and Smith destroyed it. I mean, he hit the ball very deep, crushed the ball left field, and that could change the series. The Dodgers went up 4-2 and they end winning 7-3. That could change the series. I don't know if it does. I don't trust the Dodgers whatsoever. But if they're fortunate enough to somehow win these 2 games against the Braves, that homer would be like what Anthony Davis did for the Lakers when he had that big shot against Denver. That's the one that makes you believe that you could win it all. And maybe the home run that I believe Correa hit in Game 5, that might have been the turning point of the game. That could have been the key to the game. You know, and that was big. I believe it was Springer. Let me get this right here. They don't have it was Correa who hit the home run that gave him the win in Game 5, and the Astros they beat up on the Rays, and I didn't like how the Rays looked. The Rays looked discouraged, period. They looked discouraged. But I think I'm going back to my first pick. I think Astros might get them. I didn't like how the Tampa looked. They lost some momentum. They had a chance to put up the game away in 4. They didn't. You don't let these teams off the hook. Now, the Braves have Fried, who's unhittable against the Dodgers in Game 1 against Buehler. Buehler has to go 7 or 6. He has to be an ace. And then they have to turn over to the bullpen. Then the Dodgers have a chance. If the Dodgers win tonight, that's going to be tough for the Braves because now you're talking about a team that hasn't won since '88. They're so desperate to get that monkey off the back. All you have to do is win one game. That would be tough. If I'm the Braves, I get this done tonight. If they don't, that's going to be a little problematic. It would be I don't think it's going to happen. It'd be kind of interesting if the Dodgers and Astros play with the Dodgers feeling like they were cheated and the Astros wanting respect. That would be kind of poetic justice if they ever met. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Don't tell me you're nervous about the Braves tonight.
I am. The lifelong Atlanta Braves, Auburn Tiger fan. I definitely understand heartbreak. So nothing is over until it is over, my friend.
Listen, man, you put up 6 runs in the first inning, the Dodgers will fold like a wetsuit.
Well, yeah.
I know. It's just I don't know. Between them and the Yankees, they just don't have. I don't think those teams have the heart. I mean, we had heart. We had my Cubbies. I'm a Cubs fan. We had the heart in 2016, and you guys might have that heart because every time that there was base runners, you got runners in.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like all year long, they struggled with that. You know, the Braves can hit home runs, and they got a lot of great young players now too. Now they've been developing some really good players. You know, their farm system is still loaded. I mean, it showed last night. Bryce Wilson comes up, you know, and throws a shutout, and or gave up one run. But I mean, he was really good. And then you got Kyle Wright, and then you know, Ian Anderson, whose fastball and changeup look exactly the same. And
Yes, definitely.
Mike Soroka, who's arguably one of the better young pitchers in baseball, he's been out for the year. So
Yeah, definitely.
if they win this championship, they can win a couple in the next couple of years.
Yes, they could. They definitely could.
But Ron, I mean, I started towards the middle of September. They started pitching better because the offense is fine and the defense is fine and the bullpen's fine. But when those young guys started coming up and pitching good, I kind of got a feeling they could do something special.
Well, listen, I have some serious issues with the Houston Astros. If they ever got to the World Series, I will have a tomahawk chop. I'm going to root for the Braves so hard. They're too talented. I don't like cheating. I don't like any of that. I frown on that. And they were too talented to do that garbage. But if they're able to pull this off against Tampa, I'm not sure. But if Tampa gets in there, that's a good matchup with you guys because they can pitch, and you guys can pitch.
Oh yeah, they can pitch and they play good. Both teams are kind of similar.
I'm gonna tell you something. You're about to. I'm sorry to cut you off. You're about to say Tampa's defense. They made some of the best defensive plays I have ever seen in the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, and it goes back to I've always said this, and of course when I was young, I always loved playing defense when I played sports. And if you play good defense in any sport,
Yes.
you can be in the game. You know, you can be in the game and have an opportunity to win the game. I mean, you might have a pitiful offense, but it will keep you in the game if you can play good defense.
Speaking of that,
I'm gonna tell you right now, Ron, nobody's doing it in football.
No, I know. Yo, this is why me and you, we have the best chemistry when it comes to interviewing. Because I was going to go right to that segue, going to Alabama and Georgia. Now, tell everybody what the status is of Nick Saban. He contacted the coronavirus. What's the status for him?
Right now, he's going to be coaching from. Well, he's not going to be coaching. He's going to be at the house. I mean, SEC protocols are if you have coronavirus, you can't come into the stadium, and you can't have any contact with the team. So, you know, right now, Steve Sarkisian is interim.
Oh.
But I think they're going to test him. I think today, and I think one more time tomorrow. So if he tests negative, he can coach. But I
Wow.
doubt that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think they're going to push him off for a week for safety measures. If Kirby Smart is not going to win tomorrow, he's not going to win, period. I mean, they got the better defense. Their quarterback is solid, smart. They pound you with the running game, but they're the team that plays the best defense. And you know what? I was disappointed in your Auburn because I had picked Auburn, and I thought Auburn would went in there and get beat. But Auburn got beat the worst way by Georgia. It was physical.
Yeah, and you know, Auburn's offensive line only practice. I don't think they practiced with their regular five one time in fall practice because due to the COVID and due to injuries. And so, I mean, they're replacing 4 or 5 starters up there, and you're talking about a Georgia front seven. You know, that's NFL caliber. You know, you got Jordan Davis, who's 6'6", 330 pounds, at nose tackle. Their linebackers, I mean, they're just hard to move. Their linebackers are fast and athletic.
Yes.
You know, so they're a really talented team. And I'm going to tell you tomorrow, I think I think it's going to be a challenge for them just because Alabama's defense. I mean, what's happened? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I really don't.
I mean, the last couple years, they've just taken a significant nosedive. And I mean, yeah,
Yes.
you can score 50
Yes.
points a game, but if you're giving up 50, it doesn't matter. You know?
Yeah, you're giving up. You're Alabama's giving up that many points. And then you know what scared me about the Ole Miss game is the fact that it was 3rd and 13, the last time Ole Miss tied the score, and it caught a screen pass, and he ran down the field about 20 yards before I saw one Alabama defender. I was like, whoa, that's not Nick Saban defense.
No, and you know, I was on a radio show yesterday with, you remember Randy McMichael, who played for Georgia and the Miami Dolphins?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. He's got a show with a friend of mine, Chris Goforth, who works for the Falcons, and we were talking about it, and he asked me, you know, what's the deal with Bama? I was like, you know, I don't know what's going on, but it's like they haven't had those defensive linemen that can just dominate, that are hard to move. You know, and with so much hurry up tempo offenses that have come into the SEC, I think Saban started recruiting defensive linemen that are a little more athletic and slim down. So like the guy like
Yes.
6'3", 360.
Yes. They're definitely going to wear down. But also, the one good thing about Alabama is Georgia kind of plays a little more a style that their defense can understand instead of that up-tempo of Mississippi, of Ole Miss. So maybe the familiarity will help their defense a little.
Yeah, it could. I mean, because Georgia likes to run the ball and they like to, you know, control the clock and just kind of, it's like a python. They just kind of squeeze the life out of you. And Georgia's going to have to do that tomorrow because they don't want to get in a shootout with Alabama. I think Alabama, you know, they're going to need to stretch the field against Georgia's defense because they can't. I don't see Najee Harris and Brian Robinson and Alabama's running game going off tomorrow.
No.
I just think Georgia's front seven is that good, and I think Kirby does a great job of coaching them. They're very fundamentally sound. They're fast and athletic. So I think Alabama, you know, kind of like what Tennessee did early on in the game. I thought they had a good plan as far as attacking down the
Yes.
field. You know, and I think when you do that, if you can get some plays down the field, of course they got Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Mac Jones been playing lights out. You know, I think Waddle's he's the best player. I think to me he's the best player in the country.
You know why he's the best player in the country? He's the best.
He's one of the best football players I've ever seen.
You know what it is? He is so fundamentally sound with his route running.
Yeah, man, and he is fat. He is so fast, and he's quick, and he's powerful. You know, and Mac Jones. I mean, you know, I was talking about it before the year began. I thought he could be a sleeper Heisman candidate just because of the weapons that
Yes.
he has and the line that he has protecting him. You know, and he's put up big numbers, and he's showing why he's a really good player. I mean, he was making some throws last week that were NFL caliber.
Yes.
You know, and so, but I just, like I said, I just think you got to play a little bit of defense too, and that's why I give the edge to Georgia in this game. I think Georgia, and you mentioned Stetson Bennett. I mean, the guy's not big as a minute, but he just seems like he's one of those guys, kind of like Kyle Trask, that paid his dues. You know, didn't complain, and when he gets in there, he makes plays. He's a pretty athletic guy.
He's smart though too. This is why I like Stetson is smart. He's perfect for what Georgia is doing. Now, speaking of the East, what do you think about the greatest cocktail party? Because Georgia, they can't rest on their laurels. If they beat Alabama, they got to beat Florida, so you got a guaranteed spot in the SEC title game.
For everybody, I mean, I think anybody can beat anybody.
Yes.
Kentucky's still. I think they're still a pretty good team. They got a really good offensive line. They've lost probably 2 games they could have won. You know, do I think they'll beat Georgia? I don't think so. But I mean, Florida. I don't know if they have the defense to beat Georgia. I don't. I mean, and so right now, I mean, if Georgia gets by this game, I think they're in pretty good shape to run the table.
Now I have to mess with you. Did you have your cousin ref those last games with Kentucky and Arkansas? Did you?
Actually, I do. Who does the chains?
Yeah.
offensive line and throwing the ball.
Yeah.
That was and that fake punt call too was very. I was like, what are you guys doing here? I thought that was a little. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just like we get back to the East. I mean, Tennessee's playing better, but I think it showed last week that they're still a little ways away from Georgia. But,
Yeah.
But regardless, and now you have Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, and you have the Pirate at
The
Mississippi
Pirate.
State, and then Sam Pittman's looking like a winner at Arkansas. I mean,
Yes.
the league is really, really hard, and you can get beat any week.
You definitely could. And you know what? Kudos to Texas A&M. They got physical with Florida in the fourth quarter. How Spiller ran and they came back and won that game. That was big for their coach because he was livid after the game. Like, give me some respect.
Yeah, and again, I mean, he's got to beat Alabama. He's got to beat a LSU team last year that was one of the best in college football history. I mean. It's just not easy.
No.
And I think, and he, to me, what Texas A&M, we talked about it up at the office. They just hadn't got over the hump, and it's like what you mentioned as far as the attitude. They looked like they wanted that game, and they showed some fight. I mean, and I was impressed by that. And that crowd helped them out too. I mean. Even if you got 20,000 in the stands, that's better than none.
I'm gonna tell you something. The 20,000, the 15, the SEC crowds are loud. I mean, Georgia intimidated Auburn. It was the Texas A&M, especially in College Station. They were loud.
Yeah, and then you all fall season long. You've been practicing, in your own stadium. Nobody's in there, or you play a home game and everybody's cheering for you, and then all of a sudden you go on the road and everybody's cheering against you. It's a different battle.
Yeah.
Winning on the road is never easy in any league.
No.
But I'll tell you how they spread the fans out. It creates a loud environment.
Definitely. Finally, before I let you go, what do you think about Georgia, Alabama? Georgia goes to Tuscaloosa and gets this W this time?
I do.
Yeah.
I think Georgia's going to outlast it. I think about 38, 30.
I like that.
Something like that. Look, Georgia's got weapons too on offense, and Todd Larkin's our offensive coordinator. I think he was with the Browns last year. He's been dialing up some good play calling, and you still got George Pickens. They got some good. Zamir White's really good at tailback.
Yes.
So they got weapons, and I always, like I said, they're playing with that defense that anybody in the country, and that's you got to take that into account. I don't care how many points Alabama can score. They're not going to score every possession.
Okay, now my next time I talk to you will be Atlanta Braves playing Game 1 in the World Series.
Man, don't jinx it. Between the 28-3,
Oh,
we finally fired that guy.
good move.
That guy's I've been saying it for 2 years. I've been saying it for 2 years. I tell you what, too, man. There's a lost art of coaches, good coaches out there.
Yes.
I watched the Kansas City Chiefs play.
Woo.
I watched them play calling. It's so fun to watch.
Yes.
You got New Orleans Saints. I mean, that Joe Brady attack at LSU last year. I think none of the coordinators had seen it.
No.
Man, but that Saints offense, man, they always get guys wide open.
That's play calling on the highest level.
It is, and there's a definitely, it's a lost art to a degree. I mean, and I'm gonna tell you, it's cool to watch a team that like they got rolling when he's on fire, and just watching some of these guys call plays because when they're old, man, it's fun to watch.
Hey, man, thanks a lot. You're the best as usual.
All right, bro, I appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for
All
having me,
right.
man. Take care.
Hey everyone, this is the NFL Report, and we have two main games. One I'm going to break down now. The next one I'm going to have a guest, Kev from Steelers for podcast. Steelers for 7, of course, because he wants number 7 title podcast. He's going to be on. We're going to break everything down to NFL, but I want to talk about one game. I like Green Bay over Tampa Bay. Now, Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers is 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and he's completing 72% of his passes. The problem is the Packers are giving up 72% of their passes to the opposing quarterback. Now, Brady's coming to town with Mike Evans with 6 TDs and Ronald Jones running the ball well. Aaron Jones running the ball well for Green Bay, and he's a good receiver. I like Green Bay. They got a good pass rush. They give up a lot of points. They give up a lot of yards, and the percentage is not good, but they have a very good pass rush. There's offensive line issues with Tampa, and Brady's not one to deal with that. He doesn't like that. He doesn't like getting hit. You have 2 all-time greats. I like Rodgers. It's a cleaner pocket. He has more opportunities to throw the ball, and I like the Packers. I like the next game. I like the Eagles over Baltimore in a hunch. Baltimore's a great team. They run the ball. You got Lamar Jackson. You got a good young defense. They got the great linebacker from LSU they drafted. I'm going on a hunch. In Philadelphia, I'm riding with the Eagles. I think Wentz makes enough plays. They get ahead. They're desperate. The Ravens, they have the Steelers twice. So it's not the end of the world if they lose an NFC game. The Eagles are a little more desperate. I'm picking the upset special of the week with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now here's my guest, Kev from the Steelers for 7 podcast. All right, we're here at Tell the Truth Radio, and I got my man Kev from the Steelers podcast. You tell everybody your information.
What's going on, everybody? It's your man Kevin, a.k.a. Kev Easy. You can follow me everywhere at Kev Easy, Keveze, for those who don't spell well. Steelers for 7 podcast. You can follow that as well. An episode will be dropping tonight. Hey, man, go Steelers.
Yeah, listen, give me a shout for this interview, man, because you're my therapist. A lot of times when I get pissed, I got to come to your site, and you calm me down a lot. I appreciate that, man.
I appreciate that, my brother. I appreciate that.
Well, this is one of the bigger games, the Steelers versus the Browns. I think this game is about down and distance. I think the team that's on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 2, and not 3rd and 11, that's dealing with the pass rush, is going to have a better chance of winning.
Mm-hmm. Me, I feel like this is a game where it's definitely going to be their offense versus our defense. I think that'll be the story of the game. I think our defense kind of has some secondary issues, but I believe that our pass rush will get it to Baker to make Baker throw a pick or anything of that nature. I think the type of pressure we can apply will pretty much be the story of that game. And on the flip side, I think the only thing we have to worry about is Denzel Ward and Myles Garrett.
Yeah, yeah. What's your assessment of Ben so far this year?
I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, man. I didn't know what to think about Ben when he first came back, but I had to sit down now.
That's okay.
But I just feel like every game Ben has got better.
Yeah.
The only knock I have on Ben is probably the consistency of actually hitting guys deep. Mm-hmm. And I believe maybe in a few weeks that won't be a problem anymore. But this is probably the best I ever seen Ben play. And I'm not just saying that because we haven't seen Ben in so long. I'm saying it because his decision-making is extremely better than it's been years past. He's not putting the ball in harm's way, and I think that's because of the amount of weapons that the Steelers have. So it's just making it a little bit easier for Ben to slow the game down some more and actually make plays, get guys involved, no matter what's your name. If you're open,
yes. Now, speaking of what's your name, I've been friends with Eric Ebron's father for about 6 years, and I've been begging him to come to Pittsburgh when he's on the Lions, when he's on the the Colts, and I knew when he came here, him and Ben were going to have perfect chemistry.
Yeah, you can see it working, man. I actually think that Eric Ebron will be the next Steeler receiver. I believe he's a receiver. He's as big, you know. The next guy to have 100 yards. I believe in this Browns game will be his day to have 100 yards. Now, I think this is going to be the Eric Ebron show. We're going to take things over. Man, I feel like him and Juju would take things over. But ever since Eric Ebron came, I feel like it'll be he brings something that Vance McDonald doesn't bring.
Yeah.
You know, and to have Vance McDonald and Eric Ebron, it's a mismatch for everybody.
Yeah, now you got Claypool, and Claypool frees up Juju. So now Juju's not going to deal with the doubles. So you got a whole lot of problems. And plus, if you could run it in between the tackles a little better, that would really give you the balance that you're looking for. I think that's important this week.
Right. I definitely agree on that. And also, just you said something about third downs a little bit earlier. We have to show on offense. I don't really have that problem. I feel like I'm more concerned about the defense on third down than the offense on third down.
This is why I'm concerned about the defense on third down. This has been a little bit of a problem. It's 3rd and 15. You get a stop, and then about 2 seconds later, here comes the flag. Okay, holding, pass interference, and now instead of punting the ball back, they extend the drive. That drives me nuts when they do that.
Oh, man. Who are you telling, man? Who are you telling? I don't understand it. This is that – I don't know. I feel like we need to clean all that up.
Got to clean it up.
At first, I was saying our secondary – my problem is the secondary. And I feel like it starts with Minkah Fitzpatrick. We all love Minkah Fitzpatrick for what he did last year. But the one thing about the Pittsburgh Steelers and the fandom of the Pittsburgh Steelers, you cannot play good last year and think we're going to just leave, like, hold.
They need him this week. They need him to make a picker. They need his presence this week.
We don't need any type of tackles like this.
No.
No tackles like that.
No. No.
No tackles like that.
We don't do that around here. And I heard your podcast. I heard that part. I heard how angry you were when you said that last week.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It took me a couple of days for me to.
I understand. I need to hear that though. That's why I love it. I tell everybody this: go to your podcast. You do a good job with that. Now, I think Matthew Hilton's going to play a little better, but you're going to have to because you got to deal with Landry and Beckham. And Beckham's more focused now that he's not out there partying, so he's a lot better. But Baker is a rhythm guy off of play action. He's that guy that likes to roll out, make it happen, make it move, get in rhythm, get going. When he's just sitting there and his 3rd 13, that's when he makes his mistakes, and Stills have to do that. Right.
And I believe we have that talent to really mess Baker up early. And I heard, them not having Nick Chubb is a big loss to me. I know they have Kareem Hunt, but Kareem Hunt is good by himself, and what Pittsburgh's defense been showing me is if you have one good running back, 9 times out of 10 he's gonna get shut down. Don't matter. Like the kid Sanders from last week, he had a 74-yard run.
That was it.
But he only had 80 yards the whole game.
Yeah.
And I believe the Eagles actually rushed for 20 yards after that run for the rest of the game. You know, so I don't believe they'll be able to run the ball effective. Like, because you got Cam Hayward, you got my guy Tyson Alualu. I like him playing.
Oh my gosh! Oh, what a godsend!
Yes, sir. Wow. And to it, those guys and our linebackers. You got Vince Williams and Devin Bush. And you're not going to really run the ball effectively on us. It's not going to happen. And I think that's going to mess up Baker. And I actually heard that Odell Beckham got sent home due to an illness.
Wow.
That's kind of up in the air. I'm not sure how.
Yeah, okay.
They miss Odell.
Yeah, that changes everything. That changes everything. But one thing I will say, I think the Eagles are a little better than people think. I think
Yeah.
they're going to end up winning the division. They're starting to get better each week, and they're
Right.
going. I told people they're going to surprise me. That was the first time I actually saw the Steelers take a 3-score lead, because they always seem like they get to the second score, then Ben will throw a pick or somebody will fumble, then the other team come back, and now you got to sweat the game out to the last minute. But they did take a 3-score lead, and the Eagles came storming back.
Right.
And Tuitt's sack saved the game because there was a
Yes.
guy wide open. I heard your podcast.
Yes.
I listened, and it saved the touchdown. And then Claypool did what he did. That's one thing
Right.
I do like about Pittsburgh. When they have a chance to run the clock out, they're aggressive. They don't sit there and go dink and dunk and run the ball. They want to try to run the clock out. Tomlin trusts Ben at this point, and you're going to have to do that to get past Cleveland, because you better get past Cleveland, because we got Murderers Row coming up. Cleveland, at Tennessee, at Baltimore, and Dallas with Dalton, a familiar face. But you at least want to go 2-2, and you want to get this game.
If I'm being totally honest about these next couple games, I honestly feel like, without any Pittsburgh bias or like just being biased in general, I honestly feel like the Steelers can win each of the next 3 games because excuse me.
That's all right.
Because these teams that you name, like the next couple teams are playing, they rely on the run to get things started. And the way Pittsburgh plays defense, like the rush defense, our rush defense is no joke. And if you don't have Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers or someone of that caliber, you're going to have a hard day. I feel like you're going to have a hard day. And these next couple quarterbacks, Baker,
Tannehill,
Jackson, and Lamar, which people always forget. Last time Lamar Jackson played the Pittsburgh Steelers, he threw 3 picks.
Yep.
3 picks.
Yeah,
and
Juju
he
fumble.
Lost the fumble.
Juju fumble. And you know what I said? Juju, you did it again. Remember the New Orleans game that cost the playoff spot? I said he did it again because they were driving in to win the game, and they did a good job. The thing about Lamar in Baltimore is you don't let him get ahead, and they have a pretty good running game, but you want to stay in front of him, get the lead, because that's when he tends to struggle once you get the lead, and now you got to kind of go 4 wides, and you're not relying on that kind of option type play that they set up for him.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something else. Marcus Peters is a gambler. I don't consider him a super – I think he's talented. He's not as good as Humphrey. Humphrey's terrific. But Peters you can beat because he gambles too much sometimes.
And Marcus Peters is one of those guys that Ben pick on. Ben has a list of corners that he picks on because they gamble. Marcus Peters is one of those guys.
Yes.
And I honestly believe that Marcus Peters, when he was hot, I believe he was still with the Chiefs then.
Yes.
When he was hot, he was actually getting picks every game or something of that nature. He was putting his imprint on the game. They ran into the Steelers, and Big Ben picked on him all day.
All day long.
But Ben had Antonio Brown to do that.
Yeah. But listen, Claypool is – I seen him in college. I knew he was going to be good. Juju, so I he could do. And it's funny because Kansas City wore him out. They knew him well. That Monday night game, they wore him out. Now, speaking of that, Le'Veon Bell, what do you think about that going to Kansas City?
I believe shout out to Le'Veon. I believe it's good for his career to try to get something out of it, because every Steeler fan, and I believe he'll probably say when his career is over, is I probably should have never left Pittsburgh.
No, that's Hall of Fame. Him and Antonio Brown might have cost Hall of Fame status with their dumb moves, whatever, it's dumb advice or whatever. Can't say they're probably just plug and play. Hilaire is probably their main guy, but he's a plug in, like McCoy, like they did with McCoy last year. They kind of will give him some touches. They've got to be humble and deal with that. Oakland scared me. I know Oakland is still improving. The way they beat up on Kansas City, that's because they took 3:47 off the clock, ran the ball that you never ever see that in a game where you got at least pass the ball? They ran the ball down Kansas City's throat for 347, and then they did the kneel down. I was like, oh my, and they got dudes, you know, with the kid from Alabama, because I'm an SEC guy, so I watch that every week. And the tight end that had problems that's playing well, and then the running back from Alabama, and Gruden's got their style. They're running hard. That's a potential dangerous wild card team. I trust him. I don't trust Buffalo. I don't trust Josh Allen because he's reckless. He always
I like him,
does.
but he's right. He's reckless.
He's a good player, but he's reckless, man.
He got a lot of Brett Favre in him.
Brett Favre. I was gonna say that. That's how I know we've been friends for a while. I was gonna say Brett Favre, man. So finally, you believe the Steelers could win at least 3 out of 4.
I'll take it another step forward. I believe they'll win the next 4. They can win the next 4.
That's why I need you. I was looking at 2 and 2, but I got the dollar store mentality. You're Macy's. I like that. I like. Listen, the next one you get Tiana with the Dunkin' Donuts and the drinking and all that.
Where shout out to her.
Yeah, and I'm a pick with her when she comes on. I got a special skit I got set up for her. Tell her that. All right, thanks a lot. Okay, this is the final segment of the show. This is a boxing segment. It's Lopez versus Lomachenko. I'm going to break this down. Is it going to be Lomachenko, who's a little better boxer, or Lopez's insane combination of speed and power? I mean, when he knocks guys out, they go, and they are doing weird things on the ground when he knocks them out. He does his little dance, and he had a Joe Burrow jersey one time after. He's entertaining. And Lomachenko is a very, at 32, he's still very good. Not as good as what ESPN tell you. ESPN tell you he's Sugar Ray Robinson and is showing different acrobatic things he can do. He's a cyborg, but he's not a cyborg. He's been down 3 times, and he has fought C- to B+ talent and beat him. Only 14 wins and 1 loss. I know he has a long amateur career, but that's amateurs. That's cute, but that's the amateurs. What can he do when it matters? This is the biggest fight of his career to validate the overhype that ESPN and HBO did for him. He's a good fighter. Talented, speed. He could do different things athletically. That's pretty good. But we'll see against a younger, hungrier Lopez. If the fight, I think what Lomachenko has to do is he's got to pop Lopez early and stagger him to let him know that you're not going to just walk in here and put me to sleep, because Lopez is coming in there and coming after him. So when you have a guy like that, you gotta get his respect. And Lomachenko's going to have to pop him a couple of times and use the power that he has to get his respect. I'm rooting for Lopez. I'm put off by the overhype. Lomachenko's a good fighter, but they stuffed him down the public's throat. They said he's pound for pound, even though Crawford and Spence and Porter and Thurman and Fury and Wilder and all the other fighters had much better resumes. If he does win, I put him in the top 5. And we go from there. But that's my issue with that. And finally, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua is going to fight in the spring. So they're going to just shut out Deontay Wilder. So let me get this straight. Deontay Wilder loses once. The first time was a draw when he knocked Fury down twice. Fury outboxed, but he knocked Fury down twice, so it was ruled a draw. Second time, Fury wins the fight. So he has a rematch clause. And what they did, they tried to be slick. They desperately wanted a UK fight with Joshua and Fury because they feel like that's more marketable than Wilder. So they just waited, and they're going to use coronavirus as an excuse. They never wanted that to fight because I thought if Fury's going to fight the third time, he was going to have to not take a chance to get knocked out. Even if he dominated Wilder before, he would have had to. It's still a risk with Wilder's power. So they alleviated risk because they so desperately wanted the dancing people wanted to make this fight so they could shut out Al Heyman's group and the PBC. And that stinks and it's totally unfair. I do not like that. He deserves a third shot and a trilogy. He deserved that. He only lost one time in his entire career, Wilder. And that's where I never ever use racism until I really see it and I'm like, okay. But not when it comes to baseball or basketball or football as much, but when it comes to boxing, it's subtle racism when it comes to the marketability. Well, like I heard one promoter say, Terrence Crawford's not that marketable. One of the most exciting fighters in the world. But what he's saying is, well, we got this black guy. He doesn't appeal to Mexico. He doesn't appeal to this. He doesn't appeal to the UK. Even though he considered maybe the best boxer in the world, I can't market him. That's ridiculous. That has to stop. And I've always been one to call that out. And they're doing that to Wilder. Well, Wilder, even though he's got power, we can market a bigger UK audience with two UK. Even though Joshua is African descent, he's more English. We got Tyson Fury's English. We could push that. We could get the English dollar. We could get the UK dollar. So let's shut him out. And they've been on a mission to try to do that. They've always been hoping to get Joshua to get a loss. I feel bad for Joshua because what they're going to do is be like, you know what? We can't ever let him get another title shot. He can fight, but it's not going to be Joshua Fury. They'll just play keep away. Whoever wins, they'll just fight each other over and over and over. And they'll just say, Joshua, Wilder, you take a walk. We don't need you. You could fight wherever you want. And if you win some title, it's not the linear title. We have the title. We don't have no plans of negotiating any type of deal with you. So go away. We got what we wanted. And that is cheesy the way they did that. It was borderline racist. And that's happened. And I've talked to Muhammad Ali's grandson. I talked to a lot of African-American fighters, and you don't ever see them getting commercials. Danzin did one commercial with Canelo. I didn't see any boxers doing commercials. Wilder was a heavyweight champ, very likable, talkable, very good at talking. He could have got a commercial. You could do the Charlo brothers, who were very exciting. Yeah, a lot of guys you could have did. Nothing. One guy. And Canelo's great. I have nothing against Canelo. They had one commercial. It's Canelo. Years ago, they did Pacquiao commercial with liquor. He doesn't do that no more. Back in the day, you used to always have African-American doing commercials. Marvin Hagler, deodorant commercial, Feelin' 7-Up, Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali used to promote the Decon Fog. They used to be commercials. Tyson with Pepsi. Not no more. They don't even try. And I'm going to call it out. And I'm going to keep calling it out. I'm going to be a pain in the neck. I'm going to reach out to the people that I know, get them on my show, and we're going to talk about what the problem is with that. But they shut Wilder out. That's not cool. But I'm looking forward to Lopez, Lomachenko. Lomachenko wins, I'll give him some credit. If he loses, he was who I thought he was. A very good fighter, but overhyped.